Hey folks, welcome to another episode of ERB Explained. It's been a little while since we've been here and done this, but ERB just released a brand new battle, Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker. For those of you who are new to this, I'm going to go through and break down each of the raps and sit there and explain the meaning behind each one. So let's go ahead and get started.
Mike, let me fire up the wand like Hermione and Ron. I'm about to get it on, cause my mouth spits hot.
Okay, so Accio, for those of you, you have to be a bit of a Harry Potter and Star Wars fan to catch everything that they're sitting there and to catch everything that they're saying. So Accio whatever is how you go and get something to come to you in the Harry Potterverse, and he just mentioned that Hermione and Ron are a couple and grow up and get married later on in the series. So
like incendio flames, you lukewarm, let some tauntaun remain.
So that's kind of all self-explanatory. Incendio's obviously the spell to create fire. Lukewarm because he's Luke Skywalker. Ha ha ha. Like Tauntaun because he sat there and, you know, he tried to survive in the Tauntaun. He did survive in the Tauntaun, but it didn't keep him super warm. But it was a dead animal. It did the best it could.
Even the mad eye of my man, Alistair Moody, could see a franchise only has 2 decent movies.
That's pretty funny. So obviously Mad Eye Moody from Harry Potter again, and so I liked Return of the Jedi. Obviously that's what he's sitting there talking about, is that the only 2 decent movies, or the two best movies in the series, I think, are still hands down agreed upon, are the original Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. You know, Return of the Jedi was great. The Ewoks kind of sat there and made it a little weak, and some people think it just made it a bad movie. I'm not one of them. I'm actually a pretty big fan of most of the movies. I even thought that The Force Awakens was pretty good. The last 2, let's keep going.
Search your feelings. Do you sense deja vu? You're getting smoked like your Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Whew, man, that's rough. So if you guys, come on, everyone, I hope everyone's here seen Star Wars. If not, go watch Star Wars. Otherwise, this won't make sense. But obviously, these are his aunt and uncle who the stormtroopers sat there, and he just returned to a smoking remains, and there's skeletons lying on the ground, smoldering still. So
your acting is flat, and your raps are 2D2. Fuck off to the afterlife where you're fat and see-through.
Man, just personal insults. I mean, for those of you guys who haven't seen the Last Jedi, or you'll obviously sit there and, or sorry, not The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. For Rise of Skywalker, Luke is there as a Force ghost, and, you know, Mark Hamill is an older gentleman now, and he's not as svelte as he used to be, but okay.
You're the biggest letdown in your series since Snoke. It makes sense your father's Vader. All you do is choke. You country bumpkin, you must be dumb. Who farms moisture on a desert planet with 2 suns?
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, disappointments in Snoke. That's true. I was so looking forward to Snoke's development, and then Rian Johnson literally murdered him. So, okay. Vader choked, talk about Vader's voice chokes, ha ha ha. But the thing with the moisture farming, okay, so this is something that would actually be super important, especially on a desert planet. What they're doing in moisture farming is they have lichens and such that are hardy, and they gather moisture, or at least that's what I gather from I'm not a big into the Star Wars universe, but moisture farming would be very important. You would have to go and gather moisture from the air or from the soil in some form in order for people to survive if there's not a ready source of potable water. This is just not a good diss. Who would moisture farm in a desert planet with 2 suns? Anyone who wants to live. So, okay, Harry Potter, apparently good at magic, bad at survival and science. So,
let me stick my plans in your dusty bin, droid. I'll leave you like a Horcrux, split up and destroyed.
okay, so obviously making fun of R2-D2 and talking about going and Voldemort, for those of you who aren't familiar with Harry Potter, went and split his soul and put them in the containers, some of his Horcruxes, and put them in different places so they could never go and be all destroyed, except for Harry Potter hunted them all down and eventually did destroy them all. So, on to Luke's round.
I don't know who made you shoot first, but that missed. If I was you, I'd have a bad feeling about this.
So, that's all kind of funny. So, The reference, I don't know what made you shoot first, is obviously a reference to Han shot first, or because they changed it in later edits to make Greedo shoot first, and when Greedo shot first, see in the original edit, for those of you guys, if you're Star Wars fans, you know this, but for those of you who aren't Star Wars fans, I should say, in the original edit, Han knew Greedo was going to betray him and shot him and got out of his debt. He just sat there and just blasted him underneath the table. In the edit, they had Greedo shoot and miss Han, and then Han returned fire because they tried to make Han feel like less of a scoundrel, which kind of blunted his journey from being a scoundrel to a hero. But anyways, and then they have I have a bad feeling about this. If you watch Star Wars, that's just the thing. I have a bad feeling about this. It happens right before something bad happens. So.
Ooh, I'm a rhyming Jedi like my father before me. Your talking hats should have put you in Gryffindor.
I'm a rhyming Jedi like my father before me. So seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Epic Rap Battles of History had Darth Vader in them rapping against Adolf Hitler. And he won at least 2 of the 3 battles. A lot of people think all 3. The second one was pretty close. Actually, people don't like to give Hitler credit because he's Adolf Hitler, but it's a joke, guys. Anyways, but yeah, so that was pretty good. But the Gryffindor line, yeah, okay, whatever. So he was part of, Harry Potter was put into Gryffindor by the Sorting Hat, so okay.
Your origin story is mostly stolen from me. You might be Potter, but Harry, I planted your seed. Let's see, little orphan raised by relatives in solitude. Suddenly gets
I'm gonna get out of this.
wing of funky wizard dude. Learns that he's been destined to have powerful gifts, but between the two of us, I think I got the coolest.
Okay, so what Luke just described is the classic hero's journey. When you sit there and you look at mythology throughout history, this has always been a thing. Think about it. How is Luke or Harry Potter or The Wizard's Apprentice or just about any hero movie where someone learns that they're a king or, Percy Jackson, how are they different from Hercules? Matter of fact, Percy Jackson is obviously based on Hercules, but Hercules was one of the earliest that we know of. I think Beowulf. I know Beowulf was earlier. I'm just trying to remember if it quite fit the same mold of what we're saying. It's been a while since I read Beowulf. But anyways, the hero's journey is a classic throughout literature. There's a reason that it's been around for literally thousands of years. So, yes, Harry Potter did steal the same story as Luke, but Luke stole the same story as 1,000 stories before him. So, okay. Cooler stick, yeah, I'd rather have a lightsaber than a wand. Okay, I mean, a wand might do more stuff, so I guess in a real life magic wand would probably be more useful, but... but we could actually possibly, maybe one day in the far off distant future, make something at least similar to a lightsaber. It's probably not going to be powered by crystals and magic energy, but you know what I'm saying. All right, anyways. And yes, I am familiar with the lightsaber recently made by the other YouTuber, the Hacksmith, but still, one that can impact something, but he's doing really good. If you guys haven't seen that, go over to the Hacksmith channel. He's got some awesome stuff on there. All right. Okay, so I like the Mike Saber instead of lightsaber. Ha ha ha. I don't like the slicey thing because he wanted to shove in the arm in Mos Eisley, which is a funny line. Because there's been, 3 arm losses, 3 arm amputations at the Mos Eisley Cantina in the movies that we've seen. At least 2 that I could think of off the top of my head. There might have been 3. But it just, every single movie, with the exception of the most recent ones pretty much, maybe the prequels, but I think only the most recent ones, had an arm loss in it somewhere, so.
Hit you with the wampa raps, I get icy.
Okay, so that's interesting. So hit you with the Wampa rap. So he would always go and he would always say he could hit Wampa rats on his things because it's a sign of marksmanship. So, and then I get icy and he just showed the big Yeti thing from Return of the Jedi again. So.
Land him in your face like that'll do nicely. I fly the X-wing to save a planet from massacre. You fly a broom like some kind of magical janitor.
X-Wing's cooler than a magic broom. Sorry. If you sat there and says, here's a magic broom and you can fly around the world. Or here's an X-Wing that you can go and fly off into the most distant, deepest parts of the universe and be back before dinner. Yeah, X-Wing wins. Plus it's got weaponry. Come on.
Your double dweeb army likes to think that you're the best. All you did was use your mom like a bulletproof vest.
That's... He's not lying.
The death of my mother saved the wizarding race. Your mum died of heartache when she saw your face.
Technically not true, Well, I guess it was true. She did see her kids born right before she died. So I guess that, yeah, she barely saw them before she died. So I guess that's true, but, yeah. It's a pretty good line. It's a pretty good line. I'm going to give that one to Potter. That's a good line.
You swamp school dropout, you're too whiny to rhyme.
That's actually true. He is a swamp school dropout. He actually left Yoda before his training finished to go face Vader. That's when Vader sat there and chopped off his hand. So let's go back. I missed that last line.
Your mum died of heartache when she saw your face. You swamp school dropout, you're too whiny to rhyme. At least when I slither in a sister, she isn't mine.
That's pretty good. A lot of people said that Luke came off as really whiny in the original Star Wars, in the first 2 Star Wars movies. They got something to that. I mean, but I don't know. The sister thing. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Harry Potter later gets with Ginny Weasley, who is Ron's sister, and but obviously the Luke Leia kiss is what he's sitting there and bringing up right here. So.
I'm the boy who lived, bestseller without equal. I'll split you like your fan base's feelings about the prequels.
Okay, so the best-selling thing's not really that fair. Star Wars was novelized after the movies came out. It's not like they were, because the only reason that they're Harry Potter movies is because the books are such huge sellers. But man, split you like your fan base's feelings about the prequels. That's pretty rough. What do I feel about the prequels? The first 2 are utterly forgettable, and Revenge of the Sith was not that great until Luke's turn. Padme's death and Vader's no kind of sat there and lowered the quality some, but that lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin was freaking phenomenal. So.
You back to meet your demise. I'd say you were brilliant, but I must not tell lies. I left
That's pretty good. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar, he had that burned into his hand by, I can't remember, the evil headmistress. She became headmistress of Hogwarts for a little bit after Dumbledore died. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but it would go and burn into his hand if he sat there and told a lie or whatever. And so, but the thing was that. So they would like burn, like I saw Voldemort's alive. Oh, that's a lie. So it's not really a lie thing. Anyways. It's a pretty good line. So.
Rolling in cash. You let JJ compact your character to trash.
I disagree somewhat. J.J. Abrams, I don't feel was responsible for what happened to Luke Skywalker's character. I think that was 100% Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson, because when you sat there and when Rey shows up and hands him the lightsaber at the end of The Force Awakens. Luke looks at it like, where did you get this? And then as soon as The Last Jedi starts up, he throws it away as a joke. And and I didn't like his motivations. I didn't like why Kylo turned to the dark side. There's a lot of things about The Force Awakens. I could go on about The Force Awakens for a long time, but it wasn't JJ's fault. JJ, when he came back now, first of all, don't get me wrong. J.J. Abrams wasn't necessarily the best director to go and to take over the Star Wars helm. He did, like, The Force Awakens was too derivative of the original Star Wars, with A New Hope. It's still Star Wars. Anyways, but when he came on for Rise of Skywalker, he tried to basically take everything that Rian Johnson did and fix it, and then continue with the story. So he basically took 2 movies and shoved them into one. And so it came out as a really muddled, fast-paced, kind of nonsensical mess. And then, that terrible ending. That ending with Rey on Tatooine. Oh my goodness. Let's just keep going.
So go on, try and force more of your disses. You're like a stormtrooper, cause all your shit misses.
That's pretty funny line with the stormtrooper and everything. And obviously, reference to Luke using the Force and everything.
That's right, R2. It does sound like he left all his fire in the goblet. Maybe he will get rescued by an anorexic hobbit.
All right, so for those of you guys who haven't sat there and seen the Harry Potter movies, there was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Harry was in a lot of trouble, and all of a sudden, I'm blanking on his name. Starts with a D. Oh, what was his name? His name was... No, it didn't start with a D. Yes, it was Dobby. Dobby comes in and saves him. So, and Dobby is a house elf. So, house elves are very small and willowy. So, Anorexic Hobbit's pretty funny. I'll give him that. It's a bit of a force on that. The R2D2 thing. I don't like the rhyme scheme here because I feel the R2D2 sit there and kind of interrupted things, and you're like, how's he gonna rhyme that? And I don't like the way that this transitions right here.
I think it's pretty clear that you and I are pretty different. My drive's hyper, your drive's privet.
That's pretty funny. So Harry, before he goes to Hogwarts, I guess while he lives at Hogwarts too, because he technically has a home, lives with his aunt and uncle on Privet Drive, and the faster than light drives in Star Wars are hyperdrive. So
I've got more rhymes than sand grains on Tatooine. You couldn't pull in the wind with a tractor beam. I crushed an empire, a galaxy large. I blew up the Death Star. You blew up Aunt Marge.
Okay, so I blew up. So he destroyed the Empire, which spanned the entire galaxy. Although they showed him throwing Palpatine into the reactor. Come on, at least have Vader do it or something. I mean, anyways, I can see why they did it. I blew up the Death Star. You blew up Aunt Marge. So Harry Potter sat there and at one point made his aunt a balloon because he was not happy with her. Whereas obviously you got the trench run and the classic Star Wars. Oh, it's just so great there. And I'm not saying who's winning or losing or anything else. I'm just, there are a lot of things that I like about both series. So
I popped you where poppy can't be healing you. Unlike a great disturbance in the force, I'm not feeling you.
that's pretty good. I feel a great disturbance in the Force. Okay. And Poppy Pomfrey is obviously the nurse at I believe Hogwarts. She might, unless she, oh man, it's been so many years since I read the books. I think she's the nurse at Hogwarts. Anyways.
Death would eat you up without Hermione and luck, because your own skills, Wingardium Levio, suck.
That's pretty good. So, you know, a lot of the books for Harry being the chosen one consist of him being saved by his friends or just getting lucky, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of it's the same with Star Wars. Luke sat there and just fell out of the, fell out of the shaft when Vader cut his hand off and just happened to catch onto a radio antenna and then had to be saved by his friends. But that's a really good, that's pretty, but I think it happens less with Luke in Star Wars than it did with Harry Potter. So
You're a dud like Dursley, but worse, and I'd rather hurt nerfs than have to endure your third birth.
So you're a dud like Dursley because his cousin is Dudley Dursley. So
You heard rap before, that was not dope at all. Maybe have Goldie Balls show you the protocol.
So interesting. So obviously, when he says Goldie Ball, he's referring to C-3PO, but he's also referring to the Golden Snitch. So it's kind of a little double entendre there. That's nice. I like that. So, oh, and he showed you the protocol because CP3PO is a protocol droid who knows all the manners and etiquettes and languages of various alien races.
You're just distracted. You got a lot on your plate. On one hand, the rebellion. On the other hand, await.
Oh, that's pretty funny. It took me a second to catch that one because he had the rebellion, and on the other hand, well, he lost the debater. So.
I roll deep and the Weasleys got my back.
This muggle sucks more hole than the bloody Sarlacc. We'll rock you up good if you try to step to Harry, mate. You're the least intimidating twin since Mary Kate.
Okay, so obviously it sucks more than the Sarlacc because that's this whole sucks. Whatever he said about
Deep and the Weasleys got my back.
This muggle sucks more hole than the bloody Sarlacc.
All right, this Muggle sucks more hole than the bloody Sarlacc. So obviously, he's in the Harry Potter verse. Muggles are non-magical people, and the Sarlacc is the big Sarlacc pit. So that
We'll rock you up good if you try to step to Harry, mate. You're the least intimidating twin since Mary.
Self-explanatory.
Like butter beer on Diagon streets. You can find me getting fantastic on these beats.
That's nice. Fantastic on these beats instead of fantastic beasts. I like that, and you can find me because it's fantastic beasts and where to find them. So that's a good line right there. I like that.
It's over, Luke. I got the high ground advantage.
Haha! I've got the high ground. You know that just from memes, if nothing else.
I'll close it like a map. Mischief managed.
So once again, it's Harry Potter verse. If you haven't seen Harry Potter, the map that they have a special magical map that shows them wherever they want to go, and as long as you're going to go and be up to no good, and then when you manage your mischief, you say mischief managed, and the map closes down. So
Should have Hagrid fly you home on his moped. If I wanted teenage wizardry, I'd call Selena Gomez.
that's pretty good right there. So and you know, I think a lot of these are kind of self-explanatory. So I'm stopping to go and explain them for the few people who don't get them, but I think they're all very self-explanatory. Only a couple of them are really good, kind of deep cuts.
My attack tactics are galactically hardcore, far more than your goofy little Star Wars.
That's pretty funny.
I learned flow from the best in the biz. Get funky. So all of you that end this is McClunky.
So, oh my goodness, look up McClunky. It's a whole big thing. They basically had one of them sit there and be like, use it as an insult, and people are like, what in the world is that? And it's great. Okay.
Jedi mind tricks, put the Knicks on your Imperium. Trip you up like death sticks on Bellatrix, dead serious.
Okay, so
Jedi mind tricks, put the Knicks on your
So Imperius, so that's his Imperius. He's talking about the Imperius spell, which is the mind control spell in Harry Potter. You can get someone to do with whatever you want them to do. It's one of those forbidden spells they don't allow you to do. Oh man, because Bellatrix Lestrange killed Sirius Black in the thing. So I'm pretty sure she did, didn't she? Man, it has been so. I got to go back and read those. I got to go back and read the books. I didn't say watch the movies. I said read the books. The books are much better than the movies. Books are always better than the movies, with a couple of exceptions. Anyways.
No need to Expelliarmus. You're heartless in a duel.
Expelliarmus, for those of you, once again, who don't know, is the spell used in Harry Potter to disarm a wizard of his wand.
Call me the Hogwarts Express. I just took you to school.
So I think all that was pretty self-explanatory. I like the fact that they went with the Legos again. That's nice. So, all right, folks, that's it. Hopefully they'll go and start. I haven't been keeping up with ERB too much, but hopefully they'll keep up releasing new material so we can start doing more ERB explains. And I'll go back and do some of the older ones, such as Charles Darwin versus Ash Ketchum. And there's a couple other ones that are a little, that's at least science adjacent, in the words of some other YouTubers. So we'll go and be back with those. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, check out our other materials, such as our music reactions, our anime reactions, and various other objects that we do. If you're interested in adult spirits and are over the age of 21, please check out our other channel, The Southern Drink Review, in which we review beer, wine, and spirits. Thanks a lot. Have a good rest of the day.